Mentors are the reason why a lot of my deals have gotten done. Mentors are the reason why I'm able to raise capital the way I'm able to do. Mentors are the reason why, we're able to make certain pivots, and, and it is what it is. And they have to see the greatness in you, and that's up to you. But as soon as that happens, then, your path to success is easier.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, y'all. I'm here with Thomas Drew. He is the founder or the co-founder of One in One Life. Thomas, how you doing, man?
What up, man? I'm good, Kizzle. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So we were talking during our precursor conversation to this just about giving the blueprint to entrepreneurship, man. And I think this is going to be a really, really dope conversation for a lot of different people. So before we even do that, can you tell people how you got into One in One Life, what it actually is, and how you got into mental health advocacy and all that?
Yeah. So One in One Life, I mean, the most important thing about entrepreneurship and starting a business and where it all starts is you got to understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's all about the journey. It's never really about the destination. Where it really started was, my business partner, Corey, and I, and this is really important just to start for people listening to this. Entrepreneurship is so ridiculously hard that if you don't have the driving factor and the nucleus of what you're doing, if that core doesn't drive you, if it doesn't inspire you, if it doesn't want to make you get up every day, it's going to be hard to continue to do what you need to do at a high level, because you're going to get punched in the mouth at some point. It always happens. It doesn't matter how good your business is. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how smart or cool or whatever you think you are. There's going to be a moment where you're going to get punched in the mouth. And when it's hard to keep going, when things are looking bleak, the core of what you do is what's going to drive you. And so the core of One in One Life and what we've tried to do has always been rooted in improving the human condition and helping people become the best versions of themselves, starting with the mind and ending with the body. And so, right now, One in One Life, 1 in 1 stands for one step at a time and one day at a time, 1% better each day. That's kind of how we look at wellness and mental health. And what we have is really a digital platform that's led by content and media. So if you go to oneononelife.com, you see all of our editorial content, our articles. You can search on anything. You can search about fitness, nutrition, mental health, meditation, financial wellness, anything that falls into the 7 dimensions of wellness that we like to call it, you can find it. And our team takes data and understanding and puts all of it into a system where we're able to give content and solutions to the people that are underserved, people of color, men's mental health. There's so many things that we cover on our site that wasn't really covered at the way that it should have been, especially when my business partner and I started it in 2017. And so that's where it starts. It starts on the site, and then it ends with our digital products. So we have what's called One in One U, which is our digital health and fitness and nutrition program, where you can get customized workouts, you can get customized meal plans, you get mindset coaching, you get grocery lists, you get like all these cool things. And that's a tool to actually directly help you physically through workouts and through nutrition and all this type of stuff. So everything that we do starts with the content and the storytelling, which is like our free offering for people. And then it goes down to our digital health products. We have some really cool partnerships. We have a huge partnership with a company that I can't announce. It's really exciting that I'll be able to share probably within a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working on, my business partner and I've been working on that for like a year and 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
We've had other cool partnerships with companies like MindBody and Talkspace and all these other things. And, we're getting done with fundraising right now, got some institutional investors, got a really exciting VC on board, and we'll be able to announce that soon here too, which is very exciting. But it's taken 5 years, man. And that's one of the things that I want listeners and stuff to understand, not to age myself. I'm getting ready to turn 30, but we started this journey when, I was 24 and my business partner was 25. And it never happens as quick as you think it's going to happen. And if you see businesses and people doing things in the ecosystem and they make it look like it happened super quick, they either got really lucky or they're lying. And what we all need to realize, and this is what you and I were talking about, Kizzle, in the pre-show, was as entrepreneurs of color, you have to be twice as smart, you have to work twice as hard. We know that, but we also have to understand, like I said, that a little by a little equals a lot. And that's not just with entrepreneurship and business, but that's with wellness and everything else. If you have a really, really big rock and you're trying to chip away and create some beautiful sculpture, it's not like SpongeBob SquarePants where you hit the sculpture once and
right.
It's a beautiful sculpture. You got to chip away. And that's how entrepreneurship is. That's how business is. And that's how life is. So that's the platform we're going to, I'm really excited to start developing our mobile app for the one-on-one life side, which will essentially bring all of our web content and our mental health podcasts and all this other type of stuff into one app experience and give people really interesting tools to help them become 1% better each day, whatever that means to them. If they want to get better mentally, if they want to get better physically, if they want to get better emotionally, we're creating a mobile app to really help people do that. And so, yeah, man, that's the high level. But, like I said, I'm really excited to just talk about, like you said, the blueprint and some of these other things that we're talking about, because I'm going to keep it real, man. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. People need to understand what it's really about, what it really takes. And again, I don't know everything, but I've been through enough to allow people to learn from some of my mistakes. And so hopefully, I can give a lot of that in this show.
No, absolutely, man. And I wanted to say, you talked about how, like, a lot of people don't understand, like, when you start a business, like, those people that they see doing well, they think, okay, that because they're doing well, that there wasn't like a struggle or a grind before it. But like a lot of times with a lot of these businesses, even mine, that's why I try to be so honest with it. It's like, yo, I was struggling a lot before I started Express Yourself Black, man. Like in 2017, I started a Kizzle brand and that didn't do anything. And I did that for like 3 to 4 years, right? Like, but nobody knows that. People see the followers and they're like, oh, okay, this dude is lit on IG. I love his content. I love his business. But it's like, bro, you know how long it took me to get here? Like, even though like technically it took 1 year for Express Yourself Black, man, to really grow to where it was at, it took me 4 years to get to the point where I could build the skills to be able to even take Express Yourself Black, man, to where it's at in a year, right? So like, people got to understand, I tell people all the time, like, be consistent. It's okay if your idea doesn't take off, because you're learning things along the way that are going to help you with whatever it is that you venture into next. And so I wanted to ask you, man, so what do you think real entrepreneurship is? Like, what does that look like for you?
Real entrepreneurship is essentially 2 things, man. I mean, maybe 3, but just to simplify it for everybody, to me, it's really 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's just curiosity and perseverance. Because, in order to, all the best entrepreneurs, all the best people that had built beautiful things and meaningful things and things that have changed people's lives, they've done so from a base of curiosity. Like, why can't this be done better? What is missing in this area? How can I make something better? What do people need? Why do people have pain points in this area? How can I solve that? What is this exciting lane for me to potentially create something in? How can I create something in that lane? It all stems from curiosity. And all of the best entrepreneurs have a very, very robust and active and never-ending sense of curiosity. And the perseverance piece is just simple. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, Jay-Z, he's like, the most brilliant thing that we did was we never quit.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's honestly, man, that's like 85% of it. There was some PR that just came out with this article I did where it essentially was like, from nothing to something, like, how'd you do it? And the way I really broke it down, hopefully I can remember it off the top of my head, I just said entrepreneurship is like this cocktail of curiosity, perseverance, timing, luck, having capital at the right time, understanding the consumer, and grit, something along those lines. And that's like the concoction that you have to have. And luck is a part of that too. But the reason why I say just curiosity and perseverance is where it starts is because it doesn't matter if you have a really, really good idea and don't know how to execute, or if you're really good at execution and you're having trouble with the idea. The only thing that's going to keep you away from getting to where you need to be is a lack of perseverance. Because what most people do when things get hard is they quit. And it's the easy thing to do. In certain situations, very few situations, it's the smart thing to do if you have the right pivot. But another way of expressing this, and you can Google this stuff, another one of my favorite stories is obviously, you're probably familiar with the Robinhood app. I'm sure everybody is. Robinhood completely changed the way that we thought about investing. And in their seed rounds, I think they're trying to raise like $3 or $4 million. They got their investment on I think it was around the 70th pitch. So imagine these guys got told no 69 or 70 times. And on the 71st time, somebody was like, okay. Most people would have stopped at 5.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really, really dialed in people would have stopped at 20.
Right.
But these cats didn't stop until and Robinhood. So, just think about it, man. That's a lesson in how important perseverance is, because, if you're digging for diamonds and you dig for 10 days and you know the diamond is there, you've done your research, you know what it takes to get there, you're digging with your shovel and dig, and you can't see what's on the other side. You know it's there. You're digging. And on day 10, you decide not to dig anymore and you walk away, and some other person that's on the same path comes along, digs for one day and strikes the diamond. You were right there and you didn't even know. And all you had to do was just persevere a little bit more. And so, that's why I say perseverance. It's how long and how hard are you willing to sprint without knowing the distance? That's also what entrepreneurship is, probably in a sentence. How long are you willing to sprint, and how hard are you willing to sprint without knowing the distance?
That definitely sums it up for me.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people don't understand, it really is about trusting in the vision that you have for yourself. You have to have a lot of trust in, or not even trust, but faith and belief in what it is that you're doing. I think Will Smith said it, reaching a high level of success requires some kind of delusion, right? Because you kind of have to delude yourself with the idea that you are not going to make it there, right? You have to kind of put yourself in a position where you feel like that's the only thing that can happen as a result of what you're doing, and that it takes a lot. Yeah.
If you don't believe you're going to get somewhere, you're not.
Right.
It doesn't matter how lofty the goal is or how small the goal is. If you don't believe you're going to do it, you're not. I'll never forget this guy I met in New York City. He was one of the most successful traders in Wall Street. And, he told me, he was just look, he was nobody is going to believe in you until you really believe in you first. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's really important to try to find people that are successful in different fields and try to figure out the similarities between all of them and do those things.
Right.
Every single successful person that I've talked to in multiple fields, there are probably like 5 or 6 things that they all say that are the same. And one of those things is, if you do not believe in your own abilities, no matter what, if it's going to the NBA, if it's, I want to create a company that does this, like no matter what it is, if you do not truly believe it, then nobody else is, and you're not going to be able to get anybody else to believe in you. Will Smith is my favorite actor, and there's multiple reasons why, but another quote that I live by him that is like a microcosm of entrepreneurship is it's essentially, it's pretty simple. It's like, you figure out what you believe in and what you want to do, and you're willing to die for it. It's really like simple as that. Like, it's like, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I want to do. Here's where I see myself going. And I'm willing to die for that. So, I will do whatever it takes in the realm of morality and, doing good deeds and doing the right thing to get to where I really want to go. I will put absolutely everything that I have into it to get out on the other side. And that's really what you have to do. And I don't really see it as, as an entrepreneur, you have to, it's, as you said, it's like delusion, but it's like, as long as your vision is clear, only you know that vision and the uniqueness of the vision that you have and the characteristics of the vision and how you see yourself coming to that vision. And only you can do that. Like, there's certain nuances of that. Like there's certain things that only that you want to do, that, it's really up to you.
Right. Right. And like, I'm so glad you mentioned Will Smith, because that's someone that I follow a lot too, with just his journey and just his interviews and all that. And one thing that he says, that's actually a Confucius quote that I've heard him say before, is like, he who says he can and he who says he can't are usually both right. Right. And like, if you say, like, it just goes back to what you're saying. Like, if you say you can do it, you can do it. Like, it's really that simple. No matter. Yeah.
Dude, Kizzle, man, I'm not even trying to like come up here like Steve Harvey and just motivationally speak, but like it really is truly like you have to make a decision. And you have to understand that it's going to be hard. You have to understand that it's going to take adaptation along the way. And I'm speaking, for entrepreneurship, but even like people that are like, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be like whatever it is, like, you make a decision, you make a pact with yourself, and I talked to you about this in the pre-show too. What is really important is the reframing of your mind to fit that. And this is something that, just mental health wise, is just huge for me and has been huge for me. It starts in your thoughts, but it's also how you talk and how you express things. So I have a mental performance coach, and my coach one day when I was talking about things was like, I love, you do such a good job. And this is why I know all these things are going to happen for you, by how you frame things and you consistently do it. It's not, oh, I think this is going to happen. It'd be nice if this happened. Hopefully this happens. It's, this is going to happen. I know this is going to happen. I know I'm going to do this. I know this is going to happen at this time. It's knowing. You have to know where you're going in order to get there. Like, you don't have to necessarily know how it's going to happen. You just need to have a knowing of, this is where I'm going to end up. This is how clear that this is going to be. And my hard work and me attracting these things and doing the work is what's going to allow me to manifest that. Like, right. I'm really big on manifestation and really big on the law of attraction, but I'm also really big on hard work. Like, it all aligns. Like, you in order for the work to lead you to where it needs to go and for you to attract relationships and other things in your life, you have to have a or real understanding and vision of where you want to end up, you have to envision that every single day. You have to feel it. You have to put yourself there. You have to mentally take yourself there. And your actions and your reactions will all align to that. That's what I truly believe. And I've manifested a ridiculous amount of things in my life. It's scary. Like, it is absolutely scary, down to where I live, what my apartment looks like, being dead serious. It's nuts, but that's the power of framing your mind in the right way, because just as you said, the man that believes in himself and the man that doesn't are both right. It's the same thing. We have a choice to make sure to program what we think to be positive instead of negative. And if you obsess your mind with what you want to happen instead of what you don't want to happen, then odds are you're going to naturally go in the direction of what you want to happen.
Right.
Even when things aren't going right.
Right.
When things aren't going right with business and stuff like that, I just get obsessed with where I'm trying to take things and where I want things to go and how they're going to end up. Obviously being cognizant and realistic about the situation at hand and how to fix it and troubleshoot it. But instead of being obsessed with what's going wrong, I get obsessed with what I want it to look like when it's the right way.
Right. And what people don't understand about that and manifestation is that that's programming your subconscious. That's why it works so well. And your subconscious is operating in the background. It's operating for you when you're consciously not thinking about things. And so it's important that you do manifest and envision and speak in that way, because at the end of the day, you're listening to you. You get what I'm saying? And so if you want to be able to move in these directions, like, you have to start thinking about what it looks like, and you have to start speaking about what you would want it to be, like, right? Not even want it to be, what it will be, right, man? And so I wanted to ask you, man, like, what are some things that you feel like you wish you knew at 25? Because you talked about like being 30 and 5 years ago, like it was difficult and like you went through a lot of ups and downs. So what are some things that you would give to someone like me that's actually 25 now, that's, going through the journey and trying to figure it out?
So you want trying to figure it out stuff, or entrepreneurship stuff, or both? Because I'll give you all of it.
I'll give me both. Yeah, give me both. You can start with the entrepreneurship stuff since we're talking about the blueprint, and then transition into trying to figure it out stuff.
For the entrepreneurship stuff, what I wish I would have known at that age is the importance of accounting, finance, and legal. Number one, make sure you know how to create a financial model, whether you learn it in business school, whether you learn it from YouTube, whether you download a course, whether you go on the Lynda database, whatever. Make sure you know how to create a financial model. Make sure you know how to simulate and forecast all the levers of your business so you can create a dynamic model and really see, if this happens, this happens. If this doesn't happen, this will happen. If all these things happen, this will happen. It not only saves you pain and forecasting, but when you talk to investors, when you talk to shareholders, when you're in the trenches with other people, it's one of the best tools to have, because it shows a mastery of the financial side of your business as a founder. Something else is to make sure that you have all of your accounting and finances and stuff buttoned up from the beginning. Don't get a cheap accountant, because if you get a cheap accountant and bookkeeper for your business, it's bad, and they're not doing stuff the right way. It can come back later and bite you in the worst way, and you got to redo a whole bunch of stuff, and you don't want that. Making sure all that stuff is organized from the beginning. Making sure that when you start a business, if you can do it with somebody else, I suggest that you do. And here are a couple of reasons why. Diversity of thought is great. Nobody's perfect. There are entrepreneurs, very, very rarely the Steve Jobs of the world and the Elon Musk and blah, blah, blah. But even these people have business partners. It's very rare to be that, perfect entrepreneur with all the skill sets of everything.
Right.
Because running a good business takes a lot of stuff. It takes financial prowess. It takes vision. It takes marketing. It takes strategy. It takes product knowledge. It takes communication. It takes branding. It takes so much stuff. And it's really hard to be a founder and be good at all those things. So if you can find someone, and this starts with your own self-awareness as an entrepreneur, if you do the work to understand what you're good at and what you're not good at, and instead of, this is something else I wish I would have known, instead of trying to be someone that's like good at everything, just learn what you're good at, learn what you're not good at, spend time being a master at what you're good at, and delegate and find people that are good at what you're not good at. And that will accelerate everything for you, as opposed to trying to be someone that's good at everything.
Right.
This is something that, you know, even my business partner, I mean, he just texted me right now. He's like, dude, you don't need to do that. Delegate it to somebody else. And he's exactly right. I'm going to text him back and be like, you're right. sometimes, you know, I get in my own way because I'm a perfectionist. I want to like learn how to do everything, like blah, blah, blah. But that's my self-awareness.
Right.
I want to learn how to do everything. And he's able to protect me and say like, yo, like, you don't need to do everything. Trust people to do stuff. And so that's the thing. And as I said, if you can find someone, but the biggest thing with that is it has to be someone that you can trust.
Right.
Because over the last 7 years of our business relationship, my business partner and I have been through a ridiculous amount of stuff, crazy amount of stuff. And our trust in each other, and the trust in the fact that we both are willing to run through a wall in the same way for getting to the destination, but we also have each other's back, has outlasted all the crazy stuff that's happened to us to get up to this point. And we say it all the time. If I would have been by myself, or if he would have been by himself doing this, I don't know if we would be where we are right now. I mean, it's just tough. The next thing is, don't start with a product, start with a consumer. If you have a good product idea, that's great, but become obsessed with the consumer. Figure out who you're actually trying to sell to. Figure out who these people are. Figure out what matters to them. Figure out what they love. Figure out what they hate. Figure out what they listen to, what they read, who they pay attention to, what platforms they use, how to grab their attention, all these things. Figure it out. Ask them questions. Figure out what they want, and create something that exists in that area. Then you will be saving yourself, because what you don't want to do, and I've made this mistake with, you know, in a lot of different ways, but you think you create a product and it's an amazing product, and you put it out into the marketplace and you just expect people to latch onto it. It's much easier to create something that people already want through your research than creating something that you're trying to get people to want through marketing and communication and some of these other things.
Right.
What you want is to create something that, you know, there's demand there because of the research and consumer segmentation and focus on psychographics and psychology and all these other things that matter. Like, you know that it's going to work because there's a need. Whereas, you know, there's been tons of genius product people, but, you know, they put the product out into the ecosystem. It doesn't perform the way they want it to because they were focused more on the product than they were on the person. This is why Apple is Apple and why Dell is Dell. Dell was focused on the product. Apple was focused on the person. So, you know, that's something. And I guess lastly, do not raise money too early. Bootstrap your business for as long as you can, with your resources, with your capital, with your ideas, with your organic growth, for as long as you can. Not just to retain ownership, but to build something and show that you can really build something without outside capital first. It's just, you never want to take capital and money too early. Like there's, you know, in entrepreneurship, you know, you see all these stories, you know, raising this money, doing this, doing that, like blah, blah, blah. There is such thing as having too much money and having money that you're not ready for. And it sucks because when you have a whole bunch of money and then you put money towards things and they don't work and it's someone else's money, that's way more stressful than you doing it yourself with your own chips or no chips at all and just doing stuff organically and trying to make it work, because you don't have to explain to somebody why things didn't work with the money that you used.
Right.
And as entrepreneurs, and as an entrepreneur, what you want to do and what you'll discover is that you try to mitigate stress as much as possible, because, you know, you're always stressed if you're an entrepreneur that cares.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the entrepreneurs that care are always stressed. Is this working? Do my people like it? What does my consumer think? Can I make this experience better? What am I missing? Who's doing it better? These are things that replay in my head every single day, all the time. So that would be the last thing. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded, but honestly, if I would have known those, oh yeah, one more. Mentors are really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
I put effort into the whole mentorship thing probably a little bit late, but mentors are really, really important, man. And you have to be hungry, provide value, be yourself, make it a mutual relationship, figure out a way to bring the mentor value. And if the mentor is cut from the right cloth, he or she will do the same. And the right mentors beeline a path to success like nothing ever in the history of entrepreneurship, because you can watch all the YouTube videos, you can study all the courses, but having that knowledge and having a relationship where someone that has done it already can just make it easier for you, not just through steps and knowledge, but through relationships and opening doors and saying, well, just do this.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you from 0 to 100. Mentors are the reason why a lot of my deals have gotten done. Mentors are the reason why I'm able to raise capital the way I'm able to do. Mentors are the reason why, you know, we're able to make certain pivots, and, you know, and it is what it is. And they have to see the greatness in you, and that's up to you. But as soon as that happens, then, you know, your path to success is easier. But here's the thing. They're not going to seek you out. You have to seek them out. You have to be on the offensive. You have to be hungry. And, you know, straight up, their time is way more valuable than yours if they're a successful person where they already are. And so you have to seek them out and prove to them that you won't waste their time, because every real entrepreneur and real mentor wants to give back and pay it forward. That's what it's all about. So that would be the last thing.
So what about the figuring out the life part?
Ooh, invest in ETFs. It's number one.
Okay, I got that checked.
Figure out, I mean, if I was 25, figure out your pay. I call it, you know, pay yourself first. You got to pay Kizzle first.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out your pay Kizzle first strategy. Every time you make money, every time you make any amount of money, put at least 30% of it away to yourself. Whether it's in, you know, figure out your portfolio, figure out, like, I'm very high risk. That's just who I am. But figure out, you know, do some low risk stuff, do some mid risk stuff, maybe do some high risk stuff, and then put some stuff away. Have some life insurance, have a, you know, Roth IRA, you know, do your thing, pay Kizzle.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you become rich. The way that you become rich is you increase your cash flow and you keep your standards of living and your means of living the same until a point where you have so much money invested and you have money making money babies, and you have assets and your assets are making money, and all this, when you're in a place where it's like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Right.
That's how you get rich. You can only get rich through doing that and having assets and owning businesses and having equity and stuff like that. So I wish I would have really been there when I was 25, but I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Two is really make sure that you are good on your boundaries and the people that you allow in your close circle. Because I know you've seen the quote before, but it's very, very true in my own experience. You were the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. So find friends that are smarter than you, that are getting more money than you, that have qualities that you admire, that are, you know, excelling in a way that is, you know, admiration, you know, that you see admiration in. Do not be around people that are bringing you down. at the same token, I call it's this rule of 30 thirds that I live by. So the rule of 30 thirds is you should spend 1/3 of your time helping people that aren't where you are. You should spend 1/3 of your time with the people that are where you are, that are like you, that you share like-mindedness and you grow with them. And you should spend 1/3 of your time with people that are where you want to be.
Okay.
It's the law of the 30 thirds. So that's something else that I wish I would have really understood 5 or 6 years ago, because I really live by that now, and I see how it's transformed my life, my relationships and business and stuff like that. And lastly, do not underestimate how important it is to take care of yourself at that age, because all these things we talk about and that I talk about on my platform, our company and stuff like that, all the stuff that you hear all the time, dude, the meditation and the sleep and the exercising and the movement and the water and, the journaling and self-inflection and self-awareness, all this stuff is so important. I wish I had a lot of that awareness and understanding and routine when I was like 24, 25, but really starting my company made me get more serious about it. And I've seen, how it's changed me as a man. And you will infinitely have better relationships with other people once you create the best relationship with yourself. And, when you're 24, 25, got all this, the women, all these things, blah, blah, blah. Have your fun, do your thing, date, figure out like what you really like and who you really want to be around and stuff like that. But do not forget about you and building on that self-awareness and setting yourself up for success. And I guess the last part of the personal stuff is just try a whole bunch of stuff, man. Like try a whole bunch of stuff. Like, just try it. Because what you don't want is, one of the worst things in the world is having a sense of regret and, figuring out later on, I was good at something, or I had a talent in this area, or this was something where I could have, made an impact or made some money or whatever it is. And because I didn't have the wherewithal or the fortitude to just try it, I'll never know because it's too late. Right. You don't ever want to feel that way. So when you're 24, 25 and, there's time to like mess up and do bad or like whatever, just try stuff, for lack of a, like throw SH, expletive at the wall, like just throw it at the wall, figure it out. You know what I mean? See what sticks. And yeah, man, if you're starting a business at that age, like what you're doing, and I think I told you this too in the pre-show, it's never going to be perfect, man. It's never going to be perfect. That's something that I had to get over too. I used to be such a perfectionist, but it's never going to be perfect. Right. You don't want to build the perfect plane on the ground and then figure out how to launch it. You want to launch the plane and build it in the air. That's what you want to do.
Nah, you just dropped a lot of gems, man. You dropped a lot of gems. First of all, thank you, because a lot of that I need to hear just to understand the kind of mindset that I need to be in. And I'm realizing like I do a lot of that stuff right now. So I feel good about that. Like, especially the trying stuff. I was doing that before 25. Like, that's why I was saying with a Kizzle brand in 2017, that was something that I was trying. I was just like, yo, I just want to start something, see how it goes, see if I could turn this into like full-time speaking. And that was my goal at that time. Like, eventually I want to get paid for speaking. I just want to be able to make 6 figures off of just going to speak at schools and stuff. And then that's how I'll retire. And that eventually taught me like web design and branding and graphic design and all these different things that I didn't even think that I was good at. Like, I just picked up Photoshop and started learning it, picked up like different website builders and figured out how to build websites and what that looked like. Nobody was teaching me that stuff. I was learning that off of YouTube. And look at Express Yourself Black Man now. Like, I literally made the website, I made all the branding, I made the logo. All of that was a result of me trying things, and those things becoming a culmination of what I needed to build Express Yourself Black Man. So I tell people that all the time, like, yo, try stuff out, bro. You never know. And people gonna laugh at first, because people were laughing at me when I first started Photoshop. I was making like little filters and stuff for moons and like just playing around with stuff. And they're like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why are you like, you supposed to be studying computer science? You in undergrad, like what you playing around in Photoshop for? And now look, like Photoshop helped me to figure out how to use Canva, which is what I use to make designs, right? Like, so all of that stuff plays a big role. Photoshop is where I made the logo. Like Photoshop, I was making money off using Photoshop, making like cover arts for artists and stuff in my area, like, and like paid like $120. Not a lot of money, but I was making bread on the side with that. So it was like, yo, try a bunch of different things. I love the fact that you said that, because a lot of times we don't get that lesson enough, especially in the Black community. We think we got to have it all figured out, especially as Black men.
Man, I got a secret. Don't nobody got it figured out, man.
Right.
That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like I said, I'm getting ready to turn 30. You know, I've started multiple companies. At this point, I've raised, you know, over, you know, close to what's going to be, I don't know, like $4 or $5 million worth of capital. Like, I've done some stuff, met some, you know, ridiculously incredible people, learn from these people, some of the most successful, you know, entrepreneurs, like, you name it. Mm-hmm. Don't nobody got to figure it out, man. Like, and even like, if you have one area figured out, there's other areas that you don't. Mm-hmm. That's the thing about self-awareness. Self-awareness is a lifelong thing.
Right.
Like, self-awareness is like, me being aware of myself now is going to be completely different than my level of self-awareness when I'm like 45.
Right.
My priorities are going to be different. My level of awareness is going to be different. Like, and even some of the smartest people in the world who, you know, there's always those people who are like, yo, how does this person do this? How does it, like, blah, 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 blah. All those type of people that I've talked to, they're like, man, you know, this works for me, but, you know, I still have my days. You know, we're human.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're all human. And that was something else that I had to get over. I was always trying to be this superhero, man. I was always trying to, like, be, you know, like, I just was obsessed with always performing at my maximum potential, always, in every single way. Just got obsessed with maximizing my thoughtfulness and my output and the way I think and you know, how I'm able to bring things to be. And what I came to realize is, if you always think that you're able to do that, then you're gonna miss you're not gonna be able to smell the roses, like, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then you're gonna end up miserable. Like, you gotta take every day for what it is, take every moment, every step for what it is, fall in love with the journey, because the journey is the destination. Like, that's something else that, you know, one of my main mentors said, and he's, you know, Forbes 400 self-made billionaire. He's like, the journey is the destination.
Right.
Flat out. He was like, I used to be obsessed with the destination. It's all about the journey. And he was just talking, because he was like, you know, how do you feel, you know, with the raise and everything's happened? This is cool for you guys. I'm like, yeah, you know, but I'm, you know, focused on this, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, he's like, it's the journey, man. Like, you know, sit with it. Like, mm-hmm. you know, appreciate it. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Be still with it. And not, you know, really let it pass by. Cause, you know, even if you're able to start a business, and like, if you doing what you're doing, kids, like, it is ridiculously hard to even get to the point where you are. Like, right. You have an audience, you right. built it, you like, you know, you have an audience that listens to you, like, mm-hmm. that you understand. That is very, very hard. 90% of businesses don't even get to that point.
Right.
Like, you have a huge audience. And, you know, I know just by our couple conversations and just understanding kind of who you are, I know you have these thoughts. Man, I do this better. Working. I need to take this. I just saw this entrepreneur do this at 26 years old, like, blah, blah, blah. Forget all that. Like, it doesn't matter what another 24-year-old did or another 26-year-old did or some dude that started this $1 billion whatever. I'll give you another example. Elizabeth Holmes, this whole Theranos thing. Like, dude, she raised $900 million for a product that didn't necessarily exist. Mm. Like, a lot of this stuff that you see is not real. Like a lot of these stories and things that entrepreneurs tell and that, like, a lot of it isn't real, you know? And so that's why you have to focus on what you're actually doing, because your timeline is different. Your journey's different. Everyone's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
You have your vision. You have to focus on it, and you make it come to fruition. But, you know, we live in this social media age, and this is just something, you know, good to, you know, put the cherry on top, is like, everybody that's listening to this needs to understand that, you know, comparison is a thief of joy, man. Like you can't be looking at all these people on social and what it looks like they have. Yo, everybody looks like they're balling on social, but under 10% of people, or like under 20%, something like that, even made over $100,000 last year. So everybody ain't balling like you think they are.
That's a fact.
and over $700 million of social media scams were committed last year, and billions of dollars was stolen in these PPP scams.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff that people are flaunting on social, it's not their actual money.
Mm-hmm.
Like we gotta, like, and I know so many people that are listening to this probably, and I've done it too, compare themselves to stuff that they see on social media and feel like less than for it, or I'm not on the right path, or like whatever. Be focused on your path. Be focused on your journey and what you're trying to do, and put it out authentically, and you'll get to where you need to go. You know, we all got a path, we all got a story, but you got to live in it for it to come true. You know what I mean? And you can't do that if you're focused on other people.
Nah, that's a fact, man. I just put up a post, I think it was yesterday, where I said, Black man, here are 5 reminders that you may need right now. And I think one of the reminders, I said, yo, stop comparing yourself to people, because we all have our own path. We all have our own journey. And we need to stay focused on ours in order for it to come true. Like I said, something similar to that. So I'm so glad that you echoed that statement, because I do have my moments where I get on social media and I see someone that has like 150K, you know, and they about to launch this new thing, and they got a sticky community, or like a sticky audience, like you put it. I'm like, damn, man, I want to get to 100K now. Like I want to be able to launch this. I want to be able to do this. And I have to really sit and understand, like, yo, bro, there was a time where you were at 60 followers. Like, yo, don't you not understand? Like, and you're at 45,000 followers, not fake followers, not followers you have to pay for. You get what I'm saying? These are real people that you are impacting. These are real people that DM you. So like, I really sit with it sometimes too, because I think it's important for us to practice gratitude in the present, man. Like, not even necessarily focusing on the past, but really understanding and assessing, like, yo, you've come a long way. I don't care where you're at. Like, you've come a long way, just point blank period. You don't have to have a platform in order for you to celebrate where you are in the moment. Like, you don't have to have a 6-figure job in order for you to celebrate where you are in the moment. Like, so man, I'm so glad you said that. But I want to switch gears real quick. You talked about you having a VC on board, and I know you've talked to a lot of different VCs. So can you please, first of all, break down what a VC is for people that don't know what that is, and then talk to us about how you get prepared for those meetings, what they're like, what they're looking for, that kind of stuff, because I think a lot of people will benefit from this kind of conversation.
Yeah, so VC stands for venture capital. So essentially, these are companies and people, you know, usually, you know, they're whether they're managing partners or owners of the fund meaning a conglomerate of people that raise money from other people to invest in businesses. Mm-hmm. And they take this money, they invest in businesses, and, you know, they, whatever the deal is, whether they, you know, have equity in the business, or they do a convertible note where, you know, they invest money at this valuation, and if the business does this, they get their money back out with this type of multiple, like whatever it is. Venture capital, you know, stands for groups of minds that raise money, also known as capital, and invest in businesses that need that capital. So you can be on either one or two sides. You can be on the business side or the venture capital side. And so what I've been doing, and like what I've done, and this is, you know, why I said, you know, bootstrap for as long as you can. When you when you have traction, and there are venture capital funds and companies in venture capital that invest in businesses in what they call early stage, where, businesses may not have traction, or, they're essentially just like a good idea with a little bit of infrastructure.
Mhm.
What you're really doing is pitching your business. And, I know you guys are like familiar with Shark Tank. Like, it's not actually like that. But Shark Tank has done a great job of creating a show to get people to watch it and be involved. I mean, they did a brilliant job of that. But what it really is pitching your business to these venture capital funds to hopefully get them to invest in your company. And so the whole process for that is, it starts with a pitch deck, which essentially is your business idea. Honestly, I can give you a brief overview. I mean, this is really valuable stuff of kind of how to structure your pitch deck off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, here's what you should have in a pitch deck. Not just going to pitch to venture capital, but if you're pitching to an angel investor, a family and friend, like whatever. Here's like a high level template for what it could look like, right?
Right.
You want to keep it between like 12 or 13 slides. People's attention spans are really short.
Right.
Keep in mind that you're telling a story. You're telling a story about your business, what your business is. The way to start that story, this is a format that I've seen. I guess it's kind of been successful. I believe it's like the Sequoia Capital pitch deck model or whatever. But you start with the problem, whatever the problem is in the area that you're solving, the problem or the opportunity. Right? You then move from the problem and the opportunity to the solution, which is your company, what your company, product or service is doing, how that solves the problem, right? After you kind of explain the solution and what your business really does in like one sentence, whatever, elevator pitch, whatever it is, you then move into the market, meaning where does this product or service sit? Like, for example, 1-on-1 Life, we work in the wellness industry, the wellness market.
Right.
The way that I kind of break that down is the TAM SAM SOM model, which TAM SAM SOM, it stands for total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, and the market that you feel like you can actually go out and get, the SOM. So another breakdown of that, for example, the total addressable market would be the $4.7 trillion wellness industry, right? A way to break that down even further is the $125 billion mental health industry, right? A way to break that down even further is the $60 billion, somewhere around there, industry with cognitive behavioral therapy and, solutions to actually change people's habits in health and wellness, right?
Right.
That's how you kind of break down the market. So then you have an area where you talk about the market, the understanding of the market, and why it's the right time to have your business. Because there's been tons of businesses where it's a brilliant idea, but it just wasn't the right time. So understanding the market, understanding the timing of the market is how you do that.
Right.
Then after you kind of get through the market, then, you may or may not have a few slides that have to do with your traction. If you have any. If you don't, you may not even need that slide. You should probably have a slide about the business model, the economic model, which essentially is how you make money, how your business makes money.
So like the financial model that you talked about earlier.
No, not necessarily a finance. So your financial model is essentially like the levers of your business and forecasting your business. So like your P&L, your profit and loss, like,
right. Okay.
It's really like, okay, so, if I put this much money into paid media for this product, here's how this impacts revenue in this quarter. Like that,
right.
That's what your financial model is able to do.
Right.
Now, your business model is like, okay, how do we make money? We make money through an affiliate model, or we make money through subscriptions, or we make money because, we're a clothing company. We make it through e-commerce. Here's our basket size. Here's our margin. Here's what we pay for product. Here's what we're going to make on the margin. Like, what's your business model? How do you make money? It should be a slide for that. Right. There then should be a slide that talks about your competitive advantage. So what makes you different from competitors in the niche, right?
Right.
And then either before or after that slide, you should have a slide that talks about your competitors. So doing research on competitors within your niche and showing that you not only understand the competitors that are in your world, but how you differentiate from those competitors.
Right.
Then from there, moving down, if you have it, there should be a slide or two just about, your financials, essentially your financial forecast. Depending on where you are with raising money, you may be forecasting out a year and you break it off in quarters or months. You may be forecasting what the business does in 2 or 3 years. You have that. That's important to investors because investors are worried about return. They're worried about how they make their money. They're worried about the timing of their investment.
Right.
And then, usually after your, financial stuff, I see some pitch decks where they include things about like marketing strategy and understanding of the audience. So specifically like, okay, how are we going to grow the business with marketing and strategy? Essentially a slide kind of showing your understanding of your audience and community, how you're going to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you should have a slide that essentially is like, okay, here's how much money I'm trying to raise. Here's how I'm trying to use the money. And then after that, you should just have a slide that gives information to contact you. And so that's a high level overview of a simple like pitch deck format. And that's a pitch deck that you can bring to a VC, even if you don't have traction. A deck where you have a lot of traction may have a little bit more slides because you have a lot to talk about. Like, for example, when I've been doing pitches with our VCs, like, our deck is like 20 slides just because we have like a lot of traction, a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm talking about deals, I'm talking about content, I'm talking about, and even then, like I'm working on consolidating that. So yeah, you go to these VCs with a pitch deck and then you pitch, you tell the story. You're going to want them to ask questions afterwards. You want to leave them wanting more. And you want to make sure that the way you tell the story has places and lines in the pitch deck that they're going to remember. You don't want to have it be a deck where you're presenting and like you ramble. Like, for example, the thing with one-on-one life that really sticks out to people when we pitch is the whole like 1% better each day thing. People love it. People never forget that.
Right.
If you have a really big piece of data about what you're solving, for example, one of the things that's important to us that, we're including in subsequent pitches is like, over $100 billion is spent in the health and fitness industry trying to make people's lives better, and 80% of people still fail.
Mm-hmm.
If you're pitching a VC that, or anybody, and you deliver that in the right way, they're not going to forget that statistic, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, this company is like solving that.
Right.
So it's having those one-liners, and that's like the art of it. That's the storytelling of it. Having those one-liners, having the things that really make it stick out. And then lastly, these funds, before they invest in you, they're going to do what's called due diligence. So, well, the VC funds that do it the right way, they're going to want to see your financials, meaning your financial projections, how you forecasted that. You share your financial model with them. They're going to want to probably have your pitch deck, have that information. If there's any other like documents or deals or some other things that you talk about that are like unique selling points for your business, because entrepreneurs lie all the time. They put stuff in decks. That's another thing. When you pitch these VCs, do not lie. Like, don't lie about your numbers. Don't lie about your revenue. Don't lie. Be honest, because it's always going to bite you in the foot if you're not. I personally, as an entrepreneur, don't know how to do that. But I've heard horror stories from VCs, funds, investors who, like, people are blatantly lying about numbers, about traction, about all this just to sell. And then they get money and they figure out they've invested in a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde business, and it's not real.
Right.
So don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Be real, be upfront about what you have going on, your traction, your idea, how you think about it. It's okay if you're not making money,
Mm-hmm.
but you need a path to profitability. You need a path to making money. It needs to be clear, you know? Oh yeah, it's something else that I forgot. In the deck, there definitely needs to be a slide on the team. That's very important.
Okay.
So the team, the executive team, a background of that team, because what is the best investment strategy, what I've learned from the best investors, and then after this I'll shut up, is
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The best investment strategy is investing in people. So,
Mm-hmm.
What's most important and what's really important in these pitch decks is having them understand that the people that are running the business and that are responsible for the business are the right people for that business, right? Because if you're the right person or people for that business, running that business, chances are the business is going to be successful because the right people are running it and the right people are doing it. Like Elizabeth Holmes, using that example again, they didn't do the right people due diligence because they invested in a cool idea, but they invested in a bad individual, and $900 million went out the door.
Right.
So, that's the last slide that I would add in that pitch deck. And you schedule these meetings, you show up, you take them through it, you over prepare. Like I said, you want these people to ask questions so you can show your mastery of what you're doing and be able to answer stuff off the cuff on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And take the time to know everything. Know your financials, know your numbers, know when you're gonna, know when you're forecasting profitability, know when you're gonna break even, know what your monthly burn rate is, meaning how much money you plan to spend on your team and your business monthly if you get the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Like, know all these things, be able to answer all these questions as a founder. You have to. You never want to be that founder that's pitching to investors or potential people and they ask you a question and you're a deer in headlights because somebody else on your team knows the answer. You're the founder, you're one of the co-founders. You need to be able to go into battle and be able to fully and articulately explain everything about your business, because you're bringing in people's money. That's a serious thing. OPM, as Dom Kennedy says, other people's money. It's serious.
Right.
And this is why I tell my investors and my stuff and everybody else, you give me $1, like I'm gonna treat that dollar like it's $100,000. Like every dollar matters. Doesn't matter if you give me 10 grand. I've had people give me 10 grand for my business, $1 million. Like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
All of it's the same to me. You're giving me your money. So I'm gonna make it right.
Right.
And that's what you want to invest in. So you want to be that entrepreneur. You want to be that person. So that's what venture capital is. That's how you go to a fund prepared. That's how you create a pitch deck. That's what should go in a pitch deck. That's how you pitch your business. And, that's how you could potentially win some capital.
Man, Thomas, you have dropped a lot of gems, man. I really, really, really appreciate it, man. Can you tell the people what you guys are planning for One-on-One Life, that you can tell them right now, and just where to find you, where to find more information about the podcast, everything that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so you can find all of our mental health and wellness content on social media, One-on-One Life on Instagram, One-on-One Life on TikTok. Our digital health program is One-on-One You. It has its own Instagram. We're actually doing a total wellness challenge. So, the entry fee is like $75, but we're giving out like $4,000 in total, like cash prizes, like best transformation, wins money. It's an entry point into our digital health program, but you get to experience it. You get the community, you get the technology and like all that type of stuff. So actually you can find that. Mental health podcast is called Off the Cuff with Danny Lopriori. That's the host. That's everywhere: iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all that. And on Instagram, that's One-on-One OTC. So, everything that we do starts with One-on-One. Main platform, One-on-One Life. Digital health program, One-on-One You. And the podcast on Instagram is One-on-One OTC, which stands for Off the Cuff. And yeah, man, we got some really cool announcements and really cool stuff coming with the wellness company. We're announcing a really big fundraise some really cool partnerships. We're going to be coming out with our mobile app in 2022, which is going to be a really cool experience just for our content, our audio, and all that type of stuff. And we're really going to try to make people 1% better each day, man. That's our thing. So, hey, man, look, what you're doing is incredible. It's really important to me. And this is the reason why, part of the reason why I do what I do, man, is to discover impressive, cool, young entrepreneurs like you that are Black men that are doing it the right way and that are hustling and that are curious. And you got a really, really, really bright future ahead of you, man.
Appreciate that.
I really want you to know that. And, for anybody listening to this, like I really am huge on paying it forward. My main thing in life is to positively help as many people as I can while I'm on this earth without driving myself crazy and extending myself too thin. So you can find me personally on Instagram. It's T Drew. I just go by T Drew. Holla at me. I post a lot of what you've heard today just on my feed as far as how I think, my inspiration, how I want to help people. But shoot me an email, tdrew@oneandonelife.com. If any of this resonated with you, or if you're an entrepreneur and this really meant something to you, let me know. Like, I really want to hear from you. And it's really important to me. And it doesn't matter how successful I get, how many things I do, I'm always going to want to help people because that's who I am. So just giving that, and yeah, that's it.
Listen, man, thank you so much. He just plugged y'all in. He gave y'all the Instagram of One-on-One Life. He gave y'all his Instagram. He gave y'all the email. Listen, man, y'all better use it. I'm definitely going to use it. So I know for sure I'm going to be hitting you up, asking you questions, man. So I appreciate you coming on and just giving the game, man. Like, cause we don't see that enough especially with Black men, like two Black men talking about entrepreneurship, like you being where you're at, me being where I'm at, and you just giving the game and like not trying to hold anything back or not trying to like make it super competitive. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we see a lot of the conflict in our community getting like shown a lot, but we don't see a lot of this. Like we don't see a lot of these conversations. And what I've noticed, I just real quick, I tell people this all the time on the podcast and just on the platform. What I've noticed is that there are a lot of Black men that have like businesses and stuff that are willing to give back. Like a lot of the people that have helped me to get to where I'm at were Black men, that were helping me like through DM conversations or like helping me by getting on a podcast and chopping it up and talking, or by doing IG lives when they had a bigger platform than me, or by plugging me in with resources or people that I could connect with. And a lot of that was Black men. Like Black women helped, of course, but I had a lot of help from Black men too. So I just want to let people know, like, yo, we do work together. We are working together. We just have to pay attention, man, because I think media tries to make it seem like we aren't.
Hey, man, and that's just to end. Like, I didn't get to talk about my business partner a lot, but like that's why Corey and I's story is so important. It's just what you said. I want cats like you and others to see Corey and I and say, wow, they're both Black. He's 30, he's 31. They're able to do this together, put the egos aside, build together. We know we're stronger together. We know there's nothing that can stop us together. And like, there's room for all of us to win, man. Facts. Like, there's so much money out here. I want y'all to understand. I just heard a story of some venture capital giving a startup $5 million and all they had was a one-page memo. That's how much money is out here. It's money out here. We can all win, I promise you. But this crabs in a barrel shit, excuse my French, we're not going to win that way.
No, go ahead.
Like, they don't want us to do what Corey and I are doing because it scares them. Like, they don't want ex-professional athlete with a master's degree whose uncle and father figure is the chief executive of global banking at Bank of America and Columbia grad who also was an athlete to come together and do something. They don't want that. That's too scary. But we understand that. And we understand that because of that, we can do whatever we want together.
Mm-hmm.
But by ourselves, it's a little bit more of a cap. We combine our resources, sky's the limit. And like, I know the sky's the limit because I'm about to pierce right through that. Like, I know exactly where we're going. And like, we need to understand that. And in order to know it exists, we need to see it. You know what I mean? So it's important for you to see it. Like, it's important for other entrepreneurs to see it. So you can find that business partner where you can have that relationship with, you can do it together and y'all can feel indefensible because you are.
Right.
There's nothing more powerful than a smart Black man.
And then united Black men.
Period. Like,
man, you speaking, man. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on and dropping the gems. We really appreciate you, bro.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Yo, I'm excited, man. We're currently building the exclusive community and it's going to have so many dope features. We're partnering with a Black organization to offer low-cost therapy to each member of the exclusive community. And when I say low cost, I mean that members will be able to get therapy sessions for less than $50, regardless of who they are and where they are. We're also going to have free ebooks and courses, including both the Hurting to Healing ebook and the therapy ebook I'm currently writing, live podcast episodes where you'll be able to interact with the guest and I in real time, community forums, exclusive merch, and categorized content so you can easily find information that may be useful to you. So go to expressyourselfblackman.com/therapy and register for early access. It's literally a 30-second process. I just need your name, email, and social media handle to make sure you get access before anyone else. And before I dip, I just want to thank you for your support. Without people like you, none of this would be possible. I can't wait to see you when we launch.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. Shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for.